I want to go on totally unannounced with you, so be more in the recording than live, but let's get it going. We love this. Rocking and rolling. So that's the way we do it, right? We're just going to pop on here. That's how we're going to do this. Welcome everybody back to my channel. This is Zero Dark Tony channel. I did get a little dental work today, so I might be slurring a little bit. We're still a little bit numb, but we're rocking and rolling. Nice to have everybody here on the live stream. We've got a special guest tonight, but what we're going to do is we're going to start with a little live stream action of a police chase, which is great.
By those pursuing units, you can see they've fallen back just a little bit as he has picked up a little bit of speed, and the fact that he is on a motorcycle is really going to complicate things. Very serious charges. They're going to stop at nothing to get him, but they're not going to be able to continue at the high rates of speed that motorcycle is capable of. They do have the assistance of that LAPD airship over.
Because we're going to bring on our guest. Okay, see, I do have to mute it. See, I just started using Restream, guys, so be patient with me. And then we stop the screen share. And then I can still hear it here. So we're going to clip that off. Anyway, just running some screens right here, guys. And I want to bring on my guest. Someone very near and dear to me as an Italian. Very much part of our history. And also got a great podcast of his own, a great channel of his own. So without any further ado, let's just bring on, because it's gonna be something. Some people are gonna be this is gonna break some necks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Corndiff.
Hey, buddy. Tony, hello. How are you, sir?
How are you? Good to finally have you here.
Doing great. Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I just wanted to jump into that motorcycle chase for a second there. Those guys are nuts, huh?
That's intense, man. Most of those end poorly, I think.
It's not a good idea. Have you ever actually run from the police through the fields?
No. I don't think so. No, I've never been that type of corn. No, I was.
Well, when you were younger,
law abiding.
A little bit. Okay, good. Yeah. You know, I wanted to bring you on here and discuss some different things than probably that you usually talk about. One of the main things that I wanted to bring up to you about your history, some things that you may know, some things that you may not know, but what a lot of people don't know is that your people were you were enslaved in a way, and yeah, we're going to go back into history just a little bit, and I wanted to bring you on and get your opinion on this gentleman right here. You know, there's a lot of stuff about corn in the news, whether it's healthy or not healthy, right? What products it makes. I've always loved it.
A lot of fake news out there about corn.
Yeah. But this is somebody who was not doing you any favors, because did you know that John Kellogg tried to use corn to stop people from masturbating?
Well, how would that work?
Well, I think we're gonna get it. We're gonna get into this right here. All right?
Kellogg, the founder of Basel Street Sanitarium, and the poor fellow behind him, his younger brother, William Kellogg. John Kellogg was a celebrated health guru, a highly eccentric individual who made it his life's mission to improve America's mind, body, and soul.
And by the way, this guy that we're reacting to right now, he has got 5.3 million followers.
Oh my God.
Yeah, 5.3 million
Holy
followers.
Shit. Maybe I should take notes.
So yeah, I'm just looking at the pattern he's wearing on his shirt, the type of stash. You know.
He arguably created the whole concept of wellness. You know, the industry all the crazies hang out in. And thanks to his unwavering passion for good health, we now have the delicious, easy-to-prepare breakfast cereal known as Kellogg's Corn Flakes. Now, I'm sure you've heard John Harvey Kellogg's name crop up plenty of times before, and you may have even heard that he invented Kellogg's Corn Flakes to stop people from masturbating.
Can you believe this?
What? No.
Can you believe the evil? The evil?
Yeah. What was the main reason? What was the motive to come up with that?
Well, I think, a lot of it was from just his personal standpoint. What we're going to find out is that I believe some of his religious beliefs were involved. We're talking Seventh-day Adventism and some of those different kinds of,
Okay.
Which
but it
I'm
goes a little
delighted
deeper.
to tell you
very good
is
about
entirely
taking you
true.
through this.
But what you might not know is that this isn't even close to the weirdest fact about John's life and his personality. Far, far from it. As we're about to find out, John Kellogg makes Gwyneth Paltrow seem sane. John's dedication to health isn't surprising. Not only was he a sickly child himself, but out of his 16 siblings and half-siblings, 6 died from infectious diseases. And unfortunately for the ones who did manage to stay alive, their parents didn't bother to give them an education. You see, they were Seventh-day Adventists, so they didn't really see the point when the second coming of Christ was just around the corner. Presumably, Jesus didn't care too much about good grades.
You really don't need school at that point. I mean, if that's going to happen,
I guess
right?
so. Yeah, I mean that's a way to view it. I guess that's what they went with.
I think the next level from this Corniff is Pentecostal. I think that's the next.
God.
I think that's the next step from here. And look, I don't judge. Everybody's thing is their thing, But there's some rules.
It's when rewarding the faithful. But despite this setback, John was bright, determined, and an avid reader. And so he used any books he could get his hands on to educate himself. Seeing his potential, the church supported him through medical school and, upon graduation, placed him at the head of their Health Reform Institute. Under John's leadership, it was renamed as the Battle Creek Medical Surgical Sanitarium.
I think we're going to have to title this Cornspiracy. Have a good title. Good title for this one.
Really trips off the tongue, that one, doesn't it? And he grew it rapidly into a combined medical centre, spa, and grand hotel. The sanitarium allowed John to practice what he called biological living, which was heavily inspired by his Adventist beliefs. Essentially, he saw the body as the temple of the Holy Spirit, something that should be nurtured and protected at all costs, and enforced this at the San with messianic zeal. Exercise was strongly encouraged, as was fresh air, plenty of sleep, good hygiene, and nutritious, easy-to-digest food.
It's really interesting just hearing this, because this is my first time listening to a lot of this. I watched a little bit of it because I want to have natural reaction to it, but a lot of what's going on here reminds me of some of the stuff that they use in Scientology.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'm wondering if L. Ron Hubbard kind of took a little bit of this and sort of sprinkled it into his sci-fi over there.
He might have had a little inspiration from this.
Seventh-day inspiration.
When it came to illness, many of his treatments were grounded in dietary restrictions. He instructed guests to avoid meat, alcohol, tobacco, sugar, and caffeine.
Goodbye.
Basically all the fun stuff.
That's
Most
terrible.
of these treatments seem to make sense. Caffeine, nicotine, and alcohol are addictive drugs, after all, but other practices at the San were a little less conventional. To begin with, John was a firm believer in the methods of Horace Fletcher, also known as the Great Masticator. Fletcher was an influential health faddist who argued that food should be chewed and chewed until liquefied before swallowing. John took Fletcher's advice very seriously and encouraged all his guests to chew their food a jaw-wrenching 40 times before swallowing. He even performed renditions of a chewing song to motivate them, culminating in the resonating chorus.
I believe it was, stay alive, stay alive. Just keep that beat. It works with everything. CPR.
Yeah. It's got a lot of uses.
Bee Gees are really old too.
Chew, chew, chew. That is the thing to do. Clearly, his talents were wasted in medicine.
See, he wanted
when
to stop
he wasn't
masturbating,
serenading
but
his
not
guests in the
masticating,
canteen whilst they
think he got them
furiously
mixed up.
masticated, John could be found experimenting
I still
with
can't
the
get over
healing
he's got
effects
5-something
of
million
artificial
viewers.
light, a practice
I
that
know,
no
right?
doubt pleased Thomas Edison during his visits. Patients would be asked to lie down or stand up in a shower of artificial light, kind of like a modern-day sunbed. And it was supposed to cure anything from depression to diabetes. Funny how all these revolutionary health fads just cure anything. After their light bath, guests could continue their cleanse with an enema. For those of you fortunate few who are unfamiliar with the exhilarating world of enemas,
I have experienced hydrocolon therapy myself.
It sounds luxurious.
It was quite an experience. I had a girlfriend at the time, real super health trainer kind of person, and brought me right in there, set me right up, threw me on my side, and not pleasant. Not pleasant.
I'd figure uncomfortable.
To say the least.
At least. Okay.
You know, I've never had a kidney stone, but I feel like it would be easier.
The dignity would remain more intact with a kidney stone.
And you know what's funny? You're there and they're trying to talk to you.
That's not good.
And it's a lady who's doing it, and she's sitting there trying. Yeah, you know, well, here's like a Barbie foot. Where'd you get that? What's this old GI Joe? Like you know, it's like it's very interesting how that works as a history of where you have been in your life. Very accurate.
Amazing.
Involves shoving a tube up your arse, then pumping salt water into your bowels, in an attempt to give your insides a thorough cleaning out. Why the hell would anyone want to do that, I hear you ask? Well, some people believe enemas can cure constipation, certain celebs claim they can detoxify your intestinal tract, and that they're a surefire way to instantly lose weight. But celebrities also believe that living off cucumber juice constitutes a healthy, balanced diet, so we probably shouldn't listen to anything they say, ever. But John, being the innovative thinker that he was, decided to take things one step further.
That's what I noticed about these channels, and these guys. Did you hear those big, like, sweeping statements that he made, you know?
Yeah.
They're just like, that's it. We're saying this and we're going.
Yeah, this is fact. Accept it.
He created special machines that could pump an eye-watering 14 litres of water per minute into the patient's bowels.
Oh my God.
Then he advanced onto giving his patients, especially the most bunged up, yogurt enemas. I'm not joking.
Shit.
They were instructed to eat half a pint of yogurt.
Yogurt, as in, that's not yogurt.
It's a yogurt.
Do you remember that sketch from Saturday Night Live?
No, a yogurt one?
Yeah, it was a Phil Hartman sketch, and he's sitting, he was like, oh, honey, this is delicious. What's this? And she goes, that's not yogurt. And he's like, I know, it's okay. It's not yogurt. I can see that. But what is it? She just keeps. That's not yogurt.
She just never answers.
Never answers.
And then the other half? Yep, you guessed it. Right up the bumhole. John believed it would provide his guests with protective germs and a squeaky clean intestine.
Well, I mean, the theory was good.
When John wasn't pumping Muller into people's arseholes, he was strapping them into the vibrating chair he'd invented. Unlike today's chairs, which tend to offer a range of massage programs, plush...
Why do I have a feeling this chair's going to go in your ass, Corniff?
Something tells me you might be right.
I don't know. I didn't know Kellogg was going to be like this.
No, he's
padding and 3D surround.
What's that?
He's something else. No, yeah.
He really is. And he had that Colonel KFC Colonel thing going too.
Yeah.
Sound. John's was a little more rustic. It had a plain wooden seat which would violently shake you up to 60.
What is this thing?
What the fuck? It's a dinner table with there's something in the seat.
There's got to be.
What is
look
that?
At that? Some kind of bean.
It looks like
giant
a ball.
Bean.
Yeah.
What are these medieval lacy things here? What goes there?
Decoration. I don't know what the fuck is.
And look at it. It's like you got an easel here to paint up at top, or crucifixion.
Oh dear. Yeah.
An easel or crucify.
Times a second. And for anyone who desired something a little more hardcore, you could add a slapping machine to the experience, which would give you the option of being flogged or pounded. If all this vibrating, pounding, and flogging is getting you all excited, then I'm afraid you're out of luck, because the single most abhorrent sin you could commit at Battle Creek Sanitarium was fornication. John believed that...
Oh, see? Now, you can chew your food all you want, but you cannot.
You can masticate.
But do not
but not the other.
I wonder what the punishment was. I wonder if there's a punishment.
Any sex outside of procreation.
And if people would do it just to get the punishment.
Something to do with that parrot, I'm sure.
The parrot and the chair.
Yeah, oh God.
Was against nature and the root cause of all society's troubles. Yeah, this is coming from the guy who invented a chair that vibrates and flogs you.
This is coming from the guy who apparently offed about 6 brothers and sisters. who got rid of half of them.
And in...
What?
No, nothing.
No, go ahead, eat it. It's yogurt.
enjoyed stuffing yogurt into people's bums. But, believe it or not, he practiced what he preached. He was celibate during his 4 decades of marriage.
Well,
and rather than spend...
Hold the frickin' phone.
40 years
second.
celibacy?
I mean, let's just see here. Come on.
No
Bro.
kids, right? I'm guessing.
What is this? Is this
Hotness.
his Uncle freaking Larry over here? What is going on?
I guess that's a 1853. I don't know. I'd say she's about a 6. I don't know.
Oof, she is a Buick. But I will say,
Yeah.
that could possibly be the reason why he didn't fornicate for all that long.
Celibate during his 4 decades of marriage. And rather than spending his honeymoon between the sheets with his new bride, he used that time to write about the ills of copulation for his new book, Plain Facts About Sexual Life.
Oh boy, he was a real stitch.
Plain facts about sexual life.
My goodness.
Lucky Mrs.
Well, he married a school teacher, apparently.
Kellogg. It wasn't just sex that John loathed.
Or that
He
was
viewed
Betsy
flirts
Ross.
as lecherous villains who ought to be punished in a purgatory 7 times hotter than hell, and believed that true chastity required purity of thought. As for masturbation, he believed it was a violation of natural law that caused a whole range of maladies, from memory loss and impaired vision to epilepsy and even insanity.
That's only if you're doing it right, though.
Oh yeah, that's when you. That's how you know you're done.
Yeah, that's how you duh.
Tragic news for most of his guests, no doubt, but to free them from the vile practice, John offered a selection of treatments. To begin with, he would simply tie their hands up when they were alone. Failing that, he would bandage their penis up or place a cage over it. If penis prison wasn't a strong enough deterrent, then Dr. Kellogg was a firm advocate of circumcision, performing the procedure upon himself when he was 37 years old.
Okay.
He believed it was most effective at...
Okay, listen. What? Did they just say he did? He what?
37
Then
self-circumcision.
Dr. Kellogg was a firm advocate of circumcision, performing the procedure upon himself when he was 37 years old.
How did Mark Zuckerberg get in this thing?
Wow, yeah, that's a good point.
Is this Zuckerberg's early career?
Kind of doesn't.
old. He believed it was most effective at stemming masturbation if performed without anesthetic.
He did it to himself at 37. You know, religion.
I mean, he was in the middle of his marriage still at that point. So what? Why did he decide to do it then?
Because she was really backing him into the corner, and he had no excuses left.
Oh,
I mean, how many headaches can you have? 22 years.
she was like,
headaches.
"Oh no, now I can't because I cut off the tip of my dick." I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, honey.
It's always something, isn't it?
Oops. Honey, could you get that off the floor for me? Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Plastic wrap, please.
Oh my goodness. He was he bobbited himself.
Oof.
Because it created a salutary effect upon the mind. In other words, it made the patients associate touching his penis with absolute pain. And if circumcision didn't work, he would sew the patient's remaining foreskin over the tip of the penis with a needle, and then twist it to a close with a metal wire.
Whoa.
This barbaric procedure apparently made erections impossible. Bear in mind that most of his
Oh my god.
I think it'll make them a felony.
Holy.
I mean, impossible and a felony.
That's insane. He would sew the tips shut.
Oh. And then he'd be like, that'll
Twist it
teach you. That'll teach you to touch it.
Yeah. Get hard now.
Yeah, go for it. Here you go. Here's a whole big tub of
Have fun.
yeah.
masturbation prevention subjects were young boys, and it reveals the sobering reality that the man who invented your breakfast
The man who invented your breakfast cereal was a pedo.
cereal was one of America's most prolific child abusers. Girls didn't get off lightly either. John would apply pure carbolic acid to the clitoris, or, if that failed, surgically remove it. But
I am getting the sense that this video is not going to be monetized. I think I'm just not even going to flick the switch on, bro.
Probably right.
I'm just going to leave it.
as with any illness, prevention is better than cure.
But he is staying
And John
scientific.
believed that the best way to prevent sexual stimulation in the first place was to endure a bland diet. You see, whilst he was growing up, most of America's breakfast food was
Pussy, slice of bread. What's it going to be?
Can't have both.
You can't have both. You can only have one. What's it going to be?
Shit right him? Or get your dick wet. What are you going to do?
Yeah, exactly. Has anybody got any butter? Look at this stash action here. Wow.
Impressive.
That is.
Fatty and stodgy. Things like porridge, fried bacon, and hot beefsteak were all the norm. So John decided to create a breakfast food that was easier to chew, easier to digest, and bland enough to subdue any hedonistic impulses. John's Puritan mandate gave rise to the now ubiquitous cereal, Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Oh, so he thought like anything sugary and sweet and all that stuff would conjure up the sex demons.
That's amazing. So he made it intentionally bland. Because wow, just hear the logic behind it's insane.
Crazy. And this is something that, look at how he dedicated his life to it. I mean, he absolutely believed it.
But it explains why I can't get hard after cornflakes now.
Now I know. Also heavily involves his little brother, Will. It's fair to say that John and Will had a complicated relationship. Growing up, John pushed him around and even whipped him, despite Will being 80 years his junior. If it was a particularly cold winter's night, he would use Will's back as a foot warmer. Real likable character.
Oh, this is not going in a good direction.
This John guy, isn't he? As adults, and after John had established a sanitarium, he
invited
Will to work there. But their relationship didn't improve. Will often worked up to 120 hours a week for very little pay, and his duties included keeping John's books, shaving him.
What did he say?
Shaving?
Keeping John's books. Oh, okay.
And shaving.
And his duties included keeping John's books, shaving him, and even taking his notes for him.
Shaving him.
Right.
Oh.
That's like,
Mr. Kellogg, sir.
That's got to be some kind of demoralizing.
But, however, now we know that it wasn't Kellogg that was running that stash. He had a manager.
That's right.
He had nothing to do with it. It was his guy.
That's right. It's a pass.
When he went
to the bathroom.
Known. When he wasn't satisfying John's every whim, Will would help out in the sanitarium's kitchen. By 1877, John had invented a kind of breakfast biscuit for his guests. It was a mixture of flour, oats, and cornmeal, which he baked twice at a very high temperature to make it easier to digest. The biscuit, which was blander than a Coldplay album and harder than a rock, caused one guest to break her tooth. So from that point on, John would smash it into little pieces, creating a kind of granola. Then, one night in 1898, Will accidentally left out a batch of dough. When he returned to it the next morning, it had fermented. He decided to throw caution to the wind and roll it out anyway. And when he did, the bacteria-infused dough produced perfectly thin flakes that became crispier and tastier once.
This is like the eureka moment for the phone.
Right. Yeah, it's amazingly bland. It's
baked. It was the world's first flaked cereal. Will carried on experimenting with his new recipe, and after replacing the wheat with corn, he produced flakes, which were even crunchier. The cereal was an instant hit, first with patients at the Sun, and then with the wider public once it was advertised in newspapers and on billboards. Now, John couldn't care for profit. His only concern was abolishing masturbation and healing the...
He's like, I told you, I don't care about the money.
And get that banana away from me.
And if you talk about bananas again, I'm going to put the handcuffs on you and sew your dick up.
Yeah. Don't make me get the cock cage out.
I will sew this right up your ass with salt water.
Yogurt enemas for everyone.
I'll do the salt first so it won't burn. The yogurt will cool it off.
It's only polite to do it that way. Yeah.
And look, it's only concertina wire. It's really not a big deal. All right? So stop being such a whiny little bitch and eat your cornflakes. This guy. Wow. And shave me. Man Friday.
That's the best one. And shave me, by the way.
Do shave me, sir.
Talk all that shit.
The world, one bowl at a time. But Will was a natural-born businessman and knew their cereal would be more competitive.
Look at him. He was scared shitless. You see him?
Healing the world, one bowl.
Look at him. He was scared to death when he came in there. He was like, oh my God, I hope I didn't screw this up. Oh my God.
He's going to kill everyone.
Smithers. He's like the first Smithers. Yes, I'm sorry, sir.
all at a time. But Will was a natural-born businessman and knew their cereal would be more competitive if they added sugar to the flakes. Unsurprisingly, John wasn't on board,
Like, hell no.
fearing the sweet taste would cause anyone who ate
See that? You're gonna start whacking it. You get
Yeah,
that
he's
sugar
like,
in there.
no, I'm starting to get fluff up right now. He can't stand it.
You fucking leave my office.
to instantly and uncontrollably fondle themselves, and so he forbade his brother from doing anything of the sort.
No.
So Will, finally tired of living under his
Oh, thank God I'm still alive. I thought he was surely gonna kill me with a rolling pin.
big brother's shadow, struck out on his own. He bought the rights to manufacture cornflakes and founded the Battle Creek Toasted Cornflake Company in 1906. His cereals were an enormous success, and 3 years later, he was producing 120,000 boxes of cornflakes every day. Will's advertising tactics.
Wait a second. What about John? Did this move just totally box John out of this thing?
It sounds like it. I don't hear any more talk of him.
He's like, bro, I'm going to meet this dude in Indonesia named Tony the Tiger, and he said he wants to talk to me about some stuff. He said stuff's great over there.
Were as creative as his brother's health treatments, only far less psychotic. His company was the first to include a toy inside the box, and one of the first.
Wait a second. What kind of racist toy shit is this?
What's the toy?
What is this?
Is that the toy?
That's the toy.
What do you do with it? What the?
It's a
fine
fine
moving
moving
picture.
picture book. Yeah, it's like one of those little
Okay.
flip books.
Okay.
Remember those?
Nice.
It's like a little
Nice.
movie.
And one of the first to include nutrition labels on the box.
It's like an iPad.
One particularly successful campaign told readers to wink at your grocer and see what you get.
Wink at your grocer.
I think
I'll get banned from my grocery store.
I know. I think this is illegal. I mean, I just went to the store. I feel like if I winked at that grocer, I don't know what would happen. I think I get tear gas. Creep.
Yeah, it'd be bad.
A risky strategy, perhaps, and one that would have offended his prudish brother. But those who followed this curious instruction received a
Don't let her sell the cereal.
No.
Don't let little blue eyes Blondie here sell that cereal.
But
Counterproductive.
those who followed this curious instruction received a free sample of cornflakes, and hence the brand experienced a rapid boost in sales. Sadly, John was less than enthusiastic about his little brother's success. He insisted on using the Kellogg name for the sanitarium's own healthier cereals, and Will, who believed that a tasteless Kellogg cereal would harm his own brand and company, sued him. John sued him back, and the two fought a vicious legal battle for the best part of a decade. The question at the heart of it all was, who was the real Kellogg? John, naturally, believed that he was. After all, he was the first of the two to make it big, and arguably...
But the other dude found the thing. Right?
What thing?
His brother found the recipe. Kind of.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. Corned beef court.
The most famous doctor in America, whose books had been translated into several languages. But thanks to Will's sizable investment into advertising, Kellogg was now a household
Kumite. How about just Kumite?
name and more or less synonymous with cornflakes. Eventually, Will succeeded, and in 1922, he was finally able to establish the Kellogg Cereal Company.
Wow.
To celebrate, he introduced a famous rooster mascot for his cereal, which came about because he realized the
That's not ironic.
Welsh word for rooster, Kellogg,
No, that's not the other word for rooster, and I think he was trolling the fuck out of his brother.
Yeah.
I'm going to put a cock on the box.
God. Yeah, that's some old school trolling. That's
I
great.
mean, is that the first troll? Is it? I don't know. I don't think so. I think that can't be.
That's amazing.
I mean, King Tut had to do something. Wow, he put a cock on the box.
sound a little like Kellogg.
He hated his brother.
Cereal was a complete game changer.
Wow.
Gone were the days of getting up early to start the fire just to make porridge or reheating
Honey Nut Cheerios. He's like, fuck you.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Oh, here, I'm going to put some sugar on the cereal. You bitch.
Frosted. He frosts them.
They're going to be completely covered in sugar. I'm going to send pictures.
And last night's greasy leftovers. Cornflakes were a convenient, nutritious, ready-to-eat breakfast.
You know what? Can you think of any cereal, come to think of it, that does like a pancakes and bacon flavor or waffles and bacon? Does anybody add bacon to cereal? And why not?
I can't think of any mainstream ones off the top of my head. No, and mainstream or not, I can't think of any. But yeah, that would sound like it'd be a
have to look it
pretty
up.
good hit.
I have to look it up. Cereal with bacon. It's not cereal with bacon, is it? Nordic. Whatever. No, bacon check mix. See, people are just lacking imagination in the cereal department.
Just not out there.
I mean, they got Cookie Crisp. What's your favorite? Do you have a favorite sweet cereal?
I like the Oops All Berry.
Oops All Berry. What is that?
Captain Crunch Oops All Berry. It's nothing but the colored berries, just multicolored.
Oops All Berry. Is that the blueberries from the Boo Berry?
No, I don't. I don't think
Formula. Okay.
They're in a different universe, I think.
Oh, okay. It's like Marvel and DC.
Yeah,
for cereal.
It's that type of thing.
They can't go over there, man.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think like my uncle was a nutritionist and a bodybuilder, so everything was like healthy in his place. So if I was going to have to do something, I would have to like put cookies in some of that because it was always like the grape nuts or something. Yeah. Right. So grape nuts were a lot of what was going on for cereal when I was a kid, because he didn't allow like any sugary stuff, and he tried to get my mom not to give me any sugary stuff. I'm like, shut the fuck up, bro.
Right.
Shut the fuck up. He's like, here, have your brewer's yeast. Do some push-ups. I'm like, okay. But you know what? He really did help me discipline my diet stuff. But for me, oh gosh, any of the Cheerios or Oreo, cookies and cream, anything like that I can go with. But to me, if I just get down with some Frosted Flakes, I'm all about Tony the Tiger.
Oh, yeah. Used to like the peanut butter Captain Crunch.
Oh, man, that was good. Yeah. It was so weird, though, right? The shape and then the texture, and then it got soft, but also kind of disintegrated a little bit. There was so much sugar in it that it just sort of like, but it was more natural sugar back then, right?
I had to be. Yeah.
Not these weird compounds today where everything stays perfectly intact. I mean, back then the cereal like fell apart a little bit,
Yeah.
It was great. And Big Macs were real.
Yes.
Perfect for the busy masses who'd left the farms to work as employees in factories following the Industrial Revolution. Kellogg Cereal Company led the pack in what became a multi-million-dollar industry. John, meanwhile, was forced to pay the costs of the legal battle. He faded into obscurity and lost much of his credibility. The number of visitors at the San dropped dramatically during the Great Depression, and by 1938, he closed its doors forever, left with $3 million in debt. He developed bronchitis 4 years later and died of pneumonia at the age of 91. Although the two brothers hadn't spoken properly in years, John did write a reconciliatory letter to Will. The exact wording of the 7-page document is unknown, but the gist of it was probably, I was a bit of a dick. Maybe I shouldn't have been such a detestable monster. Sorry, bro. Regrettably, John's secretary decided that it was beneath her employer to send such a letter to his nemesis, and so she decided to stash it in her desk.
No, she did not.
Wow.
What? What?
Wow.
Oh no, Cordiff! This story has I thought we were just gonna.
She just took that upon herself to do that.
I thought we were just going to talk about like a little bit of cereal. We've gone down quite a road with the Kellogg family here.
Until he himself was on his deathbed, at which point he reportedly sat up in bed and declared, "My goodness, why didn't someone tell me before this?" They may have been enemies until the bitter end, and sure, one of them was the quackiest quack who ever quacked.
Well, it's not the bitter end for the other brother, I'll say that.
Right.
It's sweeter.
But together, they changed the breakfast table forever. Thanks for watching.
Wow.
Check
So,
out my
yeah.
new podcast,
Wow.
Random Interesting Facts,
So,
available
just
on YouTube,
let him give his
Spotify,
plug
Apple
here.
Podcasts, and anywhere else you get your podcasts. Link in the description below. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm going to drop a
Hey,
link to that
42
video
here.
there.
Back in
So that's Thoughty2. Okay, so it's THOU. Oh, I'm going to put it in the chat here.
That's
Yeah,
insane.
Thoughty2. Hey, how's everybody doing? Mike Crack is in the house. Gino's favorite veg is on.
Mike Crack, hello.
Mike Crack, good evening. All right, so it's Thoughty2. There you go. Thoughty2, that's the guy. And, I was going to do, the next time you come on, man, I think we should just, I have another one that I want to show you next time. It's about how Trudeau's mom was kind of the town bicycle.
Oh no, really?
Yeah,
Well, good for her. Good. We need
it's a whole
women like that.
60 minutes thing, but I think we should do this again regularly. So I wanted to ask you a couple questions because I see you doing a lot of interviews and getting with some different people, sort of moving up in your interviews and things like that. What are some things that you're looking to do with your channel, and where do you see yourself? Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I hope I continue down the path of interviews, and I improve at it. I want to get into some kind of niche type thing, like whether it's 3D printing or I've done a lot of Lego stuff. Something I don't know. I got to figure that out. I'm still finding my way, but
yeah, I mean,
the interviews are the main focus, I guess.
I do really like those, and I like the 3D printing stuff. I mean, I was thinking of the to make is it legal to 3D print, how brass knuckles are not exactly legal everywhere?
Right.
Can you make a version of those that's legal, right?
I think so, right? I mean, they're plastic. If it can melt, right? It's a toy, wouldn't you think?
Right.
So
I've seen them as necklaces and belt buckles as well.
I've printed plenty of those, and they're solid. They're rock solid.
I mean, but it's just not brass. I think that's the hook to it, is the actual brass part.
Yeah. Just cheap plastic, and then maybe you can get around that a little.
What's the most adventurous thing you have 3D printed thus far? Because that also, what's genius about it is it builds watch time like crazy.
Oh, yeah, it helps with that. It does.
For sure. And we all got to consider that,
Yeah, definitely. I would say that, and I say, what was the specific question again?
Well, you sort of had you printed a bunch of different things, but what is maybe your favorite and the most intricate thing that you've done? Because I see that some of them take so long to do. They take a lot of time.
There was one, I don't have it anymore. I gave it away, but it's some star. I'm not that big into Star Wars, but it's some Star Wars ship that kind of, it looks like a tri type thing. Like it's a 3-point star shape. Anyway, it's
like
massive.
A ship?
Yeah, it's a shuttle of some sort. It's just massive, and it prints folded up on the printer, and then once you pop it off the bed and you unfold it, it's like massive when it's unfolded. Wow. So it was just huge. That or maybe I don't know. Last week I printed a bear pooping in the woods, and that was pretty cool.
I saw that one. I saw that one. Well, and as far as the Legos go, because I saw, I just picked up a cool Ducati motorcycle, and I saw that they had a nice couple Lego motorcycle pieces of the Ducati. And I remember a long time ago working on a Millennium Falcon Lego thing. So, what are the most pieces that you've put together? What was it?
The most that I've done I think it's 4,000 something pieces. It was just a city block type scene where it had
cool.
3 buildings that were 3 stories each.
Do you store them when you're done with them? Like,
yeah, if they're halfway interesting, I just put them on a bookshelf I've got over here that's got them all on it. So yeah, and once I run out of room, I'll just take an old one apart and put it back in the box.
Yeah, I want to get. I want to do a couple of those. I want to do a couple of the buildings that I've seen.
Yeah,
right? There are some really cool replicas of some great classic buildings.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're, I mean, from buildings around the world. Yeah, it's just a ton of stuff they've got.
So let me just show you this real quick. I was gonna open this so you can sort of see. It is 60 minutes, so they are a little bit fussy sometimes. So what I'm going to do is just to show this Trudeau thing real quick. I just want to show the article because then we show the article, and then we say, this will clear the fair use thing. So Trudeau here in the news, since we're going to be doing some news reacting to a very fussy 60-minute CBS friggin' ghoul that hits you every time you put them on. I'm going to try it anyway. Okay, so today, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau called out Italian government stance on LGBTQ and MLP rights during a bilateral meeting with, can you say bilateral and LGBTQ in the same sentence? Anyway, meeting with Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni at the G7 Leaders Summit in Hiroshima, Japan. Obviously, Canada is concerned about some of the positions that Italy is taking in terms of the LGBT rights. What does Canada have to do with Italy? I mean, in March, gay rights activists denounced its homophobic moves by Meloni far-right-led government to limit recognition of parental rights to the biological parent only in families with same-sex parents. So these are some of the things that are going on in Italy. Tends to be a pretty conservative government over there in Italy. But speaking of Trudeau's mom, Margaret.
Huh?
Hello, Margaret. There she is. Right?
Is that her?
I don't think I believe in bigamy.
Today,
this is Pierre. This is, oh my God, Trudeau. What's his name, the Canada guy? His first name?
Justin.
This is his father.
Ah.
Pierre. Okay. He was at one time the leader of Canada as well. With his polka dot tie, hey?
And I think I found the secret of the campaign. I have a train, and I have Margaret.
What did he just say about his wife? Hold on. That didn't sound good.
In the last Canadian elections in 1974, Mrs. Trudeau, if that's what she can be called, was a driving force, even a vote-winning asset to hubby Pierre's campaign.
I think I can speak to you of him as a person, as a very loving,
loving
human being.
That's his mom?
Has taught me in the 3 years that I've been married to him,
Nice.
and a few years
She's pretty
before
cute,
I was
huh?
married to him.
Well,
a lot about loving.
she has had her,
something incredible.
day and time.
It's really my very, very great pleasure to introduce to you a man who's quite a beautiful guy.
Seems
Soon
likable.
after, role-playing the Prime Minister's wife and the restrictions of public life generally.
But not like that Cuban fellow. What the hell is this? What did we...
Fast. She admitted herself to
What was that movie with Mark Wahlberg about the porn?
Oh, shit. Boogie Nights?
Boogie Nights. It just looked like they're in Boogie Nights.
Psychiatric hospital. The 5 years since then have been peppered with headlines. You got married when you were 22. Mm-hmm. Was that too early?
Well, no, actually, because I got pregnant 3 weeks after I got married, so if it had been any later, I would have been
on a trip to Cuba.
In trouble.
In terms of the state of your maturity,
allegedly.
Though.
Oh. Well, my maturity at that point was that I wanted to change Pierre Trudeau's life into a happy life filled with the pitter-patter of little feet and good food and good conversation and warmth.
You think you...
Now, what the hell is wrong with that? You know, that sounds lovely.
Wholesome.
Yeah.
Done that?
No, I
And then she met Mick Jagger.
didn't succeed. He didn't want it, apparently. He wanted the children, and he wanted the good food, and he wanted the, maybe he didn't want the warmth. As a healthy, wholesome, well brought up girl, I was a very good vessel to deliver 3 beautiful sons into the world. In my mind, he thought was a bit.
Oh, that's Whistler. That's in BC. Did you see Whistler?
Whistler? No.
Yeah.
Uneducated.
There was just a sign that said Whistler Mountain. So this is Whistler in BC, up in the Vancouver.
Proceeded to educate.
Beautiful part of the world.
Does that make you a thoughtless person?
Yeah, no. You think all the time, but how seriously do you take your thoughts?
I suppose that's too bad, but I don't. I certainly wouldn't tell Margaret not to go out any.
So this is part of like her scandal that she had.
Like most men, he's a tolerant, loving, good, kind, supportive guy who is, like all men, just doesn't understand a beautiful woman.
I suppose that's too bad, but I don't. I certainly wouldn't tell Margaret not to go at any rock concerts of the Stone or anywhere else. And she wants to go to a rock concert. We've been to some together here in the Arts Center.
Won't you buy me a Mercedes-Benz? My friends, they all drive Porsches and must make amens. That's Haight Ashbury. That's Janis Joplin. I love it.
But that did influence you?
Oh, definitely. I really wanted a Mercedes-Benz.
And it's just gone on from there?
Mm-hmm.
Leading where?
No. I just like any child at 17 will do to their parents. I remember the arguments. I don't care. I just want to be free.
She absolutely sounds like him. Absolutely sounds like him. So we're going to scooch a little forward here because we're going to get... Oh, yeah, there it is.
And I listened to Strawberry Fields Forever, and suddenly it all made sense. It was all beautiful. We're here to learn, to give, to listen, to touch, to be.
So a smoke
and then you see this and you're like, what the hell? Who is Justin? Where did he come from?
How high is she?
I mean, her pupils are a little drawn. I mean, they're a little tight.
Yeah, a little bit.
Simon and Garfunkel.
No, Beatles.
The Beatles.
Yeah. Strawberry Fields Forever? I mean, where have you lived? Bridge over troubled waters. I should say, you need a lot of bridges there,
Simon and Garfunkel. He said Simon.
Her approach to motherhood.
Whoa, what?
Oh, is that him?
Oh.
Little fella.
This is Fidel Castro.
Oh, wow.
This is one of the conspiracies about Justin Trudeau, is that he looks so much like him. So one of the conspiracies is that he is, in fact, Yes. That is one of the conspiracies that's out there. It's a wild one. I don't necessarily buy it, but man, she is close enough to him to get knocked up by him. Okay?
It's possible, yes.
He's Cuban.
That's true. Very potent.
Okay, yeah. Like, see this distance right here? That ain't enough.
Yeah. No.
Her approach to motherhood, like her approach to most things, is an odd mixture of naive wisdom and amazing short-sightedness. She sees her 3 sons, Justin...
Look at the look on her face. Come on.
Sasha and Michelle,
so is that
for
Justin?
5 days every 2 weeks.
Wait, let's see.
Motherhood, like her approach to most things, is an odd mixture of naive wisdom and amazing short-sightedness. She sees her 3 sons, Justin, Sasha and Michelle, for 5 days every 2 weeks.
Sometimes I'm cross with them, but I'm always loving to them.
Do you think that...
She's like 5 days every 2 weeks.
What you've done, choosing the sort of life that you've chosen to lead, is going to make things very, very difficult for your children?
No, I think it's going to make it wonderful for them. So far, they think Mummy's wonderful. Don't you think it's about time we redefined human relationships? Haven't we really messed up a lot of people's lives with our old-fashioned values, our old-fashioned bonds? Aren't we in the generation that should practice what we preach?
Is there a love in your life at the moment?
That's early progressive talk, huh?
How many?
How many? Is there a love in my life? How many?
Well, is there a man in your life? A special man in your life?
Yes.
Any hints?
No.
Somebody will find out sooner or later.
Sure.
Does that bother you that you don't have a private life whether you like it or not?
Right now I do. I love it.
How long do you think that will last?
She is
And I don't
3
care.
sheets to the freaking wind.
Reading things about you and even reading your book, it's very easy to get the impression that
I am mesmerized. I've seen this a couple times.
Now it's been man crazy, love crazy, children crazy. I just love to love.
Tell us about some of the men that have been linked with your name, or whose names have been linked with you.
You tell me.
Prince Charles.
Oh, well, he's my buddy. I'm his older woman. I'm 1 month older than he is. And we've only ever met officially. We have always never been alone for 1 second, although we have hidden behind a menu for a moment. He's
he
wonderful.
appeal to you as a physical man?
Oh, he's terribly attractive, and he's so witty and so funny and strong and brave. And brave.
Throw a little more on there.
When you were with your husband, you would have met...
He's strong and brave, and I love his ears and that nose. It's got that just whole inbred sort of glow to him.
The Queen.
Many times we had the honor.
Do you think if the Margaret Trudeau that we know now arrived at the gates of Buckingham Palace that they'd let you in?
If I had an invitation.
Without an invitation?
Without it, I'm very polite. I need an.
Come on, she's not Jimmy Savile. She can't just walk in like him.
Invitation,
Could you imagine them inviting you these days? With all that sex, drugs, and rock and roll that you're associated with.
Well, they might think I might be a bad example, but mind you, they still think I'm a nice person, and they know that I've got a lot of support. Prince Charles, just after I left Pierre, Prince Charles wrote me a lovely letter from Kenya saying he's battling, he understands what I've done, and he's battling at every frontier for my name and my honor. Well, what woman could be luckier than to have a fine prince defending her honor?
The princess who was married to him?
Is she drinking wine?
Maybe this was just shy of the 80s part. Maybe this is like 80, 81, weren't it?
Yeah.
You're a romantic.
It's completely, totally. I believe in it so much. I'm so tired of boring,
she does
flat,
have like
rational.
a Diana-esque kind of shape.
Something about it. Jawbone structure, cheekbones, something.
Yeah, there's a similarity. I mean,
forehead, complexion, I don't know.
Business-like kind of life.
Don't you think that other people have to make compromises to meet the sort of demands you make?
But for somebody like Charles, I mean, like Diana was just like a breath of fresh air. I mean, look what this whatever is that lady that follows him around. Oh.
To make compromises, but don't make them too often, please. And don't make big compromises, please. They're not worth it in the end.
What's the greatest compromise that you've had to make?
Sitting here talking with you.
Oh, that wink.
Oh, isn't she cute? So, yeah, she was also linked to Mick Jagger. She would go out to all the concerts. She would be out at Studio 54. Yeah, there's all kinds of footage on Margaret.
She partied.
She was a party girl. Well, what do you got? Anything coming up next? Are you taking a little break for a little while? What do you got on the books? What's going on?
I've been taking this week off, just kind of taking some time, but I don't know. I'm gonna get back going soon, and more to come. But yeah, nothing planned right now.
Well, we just went out on the old. We're on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube, so we went on a few platforms, and I think it was a lot of fun. We should do this again soon.
I think so, man. I had this was a great hang.
Yeah, for effing sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna get this going, so I'm gonna drop you in the back, and then I'll see you in a second over there, and I'm gonna say goodbye to everybody, and then we're gonna wrap it up. All right.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks so much for joining me, man. We'll see you on the next one. That was Corn Diff, man. How exciting! How much fun was that? The corn, the myth, the legend. Well, I'm so glad y'all could join me here tonight with Corn Diff. We had a great time. And, from the pineapple to the big apple, from Maine to Spain, share this one out, baby. You know how we do it. I will not go quietly. See you.